services and the many critical services they provide our community. I'd like to continue our discussion by welcoming my next guest, Mr. Jesse Anaya, front desk staff member at Monterey County Animal Services. Welcome, Jesse, and thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me here.
Indeed. So we're going to talk a little bit about pet identification and so forth. So why should one have their animal licensed?
Well, first of all, it is the law in Monterey County to have your pet, especially a dog, licensed. We do request for cats to be licensed, but it's not required by law. And also it serves to enforce and make sure that your pets and your neighbor's pets are vaccinated for rabies, which is somewhat common here in Monterey County in wildlife.
Okay, so how do I get my pet licensed?
You can contact your local police department. They can have that information for you. If you live in unincorporated areas of Monterey County, you can come to our shelter. You can contact our shelter or find information online.
Okay, great. So unincorporated areas, animal services,
Yes.
Otherwise talk to your local police department. Are there low-cost rabies vaccinations available?
There are a number of low-cost vaccine clinics available in Monterey County. And you have the L.A. Hearns Company stores, which they have and allow mobile vet to visit and provide those for you. You also have Collier Feed in Salinas.
Okay.
That also provides that service, and I believe the feed trough as well. And those are usually Saturday clinics.
At the feed trough?
At the feed trough, Collier Feeds, and L.A. Hearns Company.
Okay.
And you can contact our office for information if you need to.
Okay. And we'll provide that contact information at the end of the segment as well. Kate, our last guest, mentioned a little bit about rabies control. What is that exactly?
Well, basically, rabies control is monitoring what happens with rabies virus here in Monterey County. Like I said, you know, there are, in wildlife, rabies does exist, and it is possible for a human to get infected. And as you know, rabies is not curable. It can basically be intercepted if it's caught early, but it's something that usually there is no cure for it. And by monitoring rabies in the county, we can keep our citizens safe.
And is that why you have you guys can do quarantine? Kate mentioned that you guys do have a quarantine area at your location, and that maybe is for animals with rabies?
Well, it's mainly we do have that service in our facility. It is to monitor whether the animal has been exposed for rabies or not, because we don't know the history of animals that may bite. It is best to keep an eye for the 10-day period, which is quarantine, to make sure that there's no rabies on that animal, therefore, you know, providing that safety blanket for you.
Okay, wonderful. So what would I do if I was bit by an animal? What happens when animal bites happen?
Well, normally we tell the public to go get medical attention. Okay, that'd be the first step. There, the doctor will, you know, ask the questions that he needs to find out what the animal's history may be like. He'll create the report, then in turn forward it to the adequate or agency. And if it's in unincorporated areas of Monterey County, it would be our office, the health department. The city of Salinas and a number of other cities like Monterey and Marina, the doctor will forward that bite report to those offices.
To doctor's offices in Monterey County?
To the police department,
Oh,
or the animal control agencies handling those places.
Okay. So people should call, or people should go see their doctor if they get bit by an animal. That's the first step. That's the first thing you'll tell them. And then the doctor will ask you questions, find out how this whole thing happened, and then send the report on.
Yes.
Okay. So doctor's office is the first place you need to go if you get bit by an animal. How do I know what jurisdiction, so I'm going to ask about a license question again. How do I know what jurisdiction my animal should be licensed in?
Again, you know, if it's unincorporated areas of Monterey County, those include the city of Greenfield and Sand City, parts of Marina, CSUMB area, and Carmel, and everybody else can contact our shelter, Monterey County Animal Services. If it's in the city of Salinas, Monterey, Pacific Grove, and Marina City, and Seaside, I believe they can go to those specific cities, including King City, Gonzales, and Soledad.
And go to the police department.
To the police department.
Perfect. So what information should be on my pet's identification? And is that are we talking identification as a tag, a collar tag, or what are the forms of identification a pet can have?
Well, some vets issue a rabies tag,
Okay.
but it's really not required. What it is required by law is to have the agency that is licensing your pet to be worn at all times, at any given time, because it's a form of ID for the pet. And if the pet happens to leave your home, of course it's a visible form of ID, which they can contact the number on the tag and therefore initiate contact with the owner to return that pet home.
So it's a tag, a neck tag, or a collar, excuse me. And why microchip? Why should you get your pet microchip then if you have tags on them?
Like I said, a tag is a visible form of an ID. Microchip is inserted under the skin, and it can only be detected, or the information, the number, the microchip number can only be detected if it's scanned. So unless the pet comes into a shelter or a vet ID, or it can't actually be seen. So therefore, you won't know who the owner is.
Oh, okay. So the tag is a little bit easier. There's a number on it, and then the microchip, in the event that your neighbor picks it up across the street or down the block, doesn't know it's your dog, doesn't have a scanner, they won't know who to bring the dog to. And a microchip, they track pets, but is that an invasion of privacy?
Well, first of all, a microchip is not a tracking device.
Oh.
It doesn't work like GPS. Again, it has to come into a vet's office, to a shelter, get scanned, and then get the information from there. So as invasion of privacy, I believe not, because it's not trackable.
Okay, it's not like a GPS.
No.
I can find out where my dog is at all times.
Hopefully, I think we someday probably are headed in that direction.
Interesting. So what should one do if their pet goes missing?
Contact your shelter.
Okay.
Contact your local shelter. Here in Monterey County, there are three, which is the SPCA, Monterey County Animal Services, and the City of Salinas. And of course, put lots of flyers around the area where you've lost a pet, and ask your neighbors, walk around and search for that pet.
So contact your animal shelter, of course, because they're the ones who are going to go pick up animals from the street, and they should be able to tell you if they have your pet. Hopefully you've identified it properly with tags or a microchip so that they can tell, and then you also want to put up signs around the neighborhood. Bright paper, tape them everywhere so people can know that there's a pet missing.
That is great. And if you don't have a picture of your pet, ideally a picture would be great on a lost form. But if you don't, a big sign with big words makes a difference.
And then where should folks go for more information about pet licensing, pet ID, and microchips?
Again, they can contact our shelter or your local law agencies. They should be able to tell you where they need to go, in what jurisdiction it belongs, and then go from there.
Okay. And so, Jesse, so you work at the shelter. How often is it that you see an animal come in without any identification? Is this a daily occurrence?
Yes. Unfortunately, we do have a lot of animals that come in without any type of ID. And it's hard to find the owners because, yes, the animals, dogs and cats, lots of them look alike. Only specific to the owner. Sometimes, that can be seen some detail that the owner can tell that it is their pet, because it's hard sometimes to ID an animal especially when we receive phone calls and they want to find their pets and they're describing the animal as best as they can. But because they look alike so much, it's hard to just say, well, yeah, we have your animal here, or no, we don't. So we ask for people to come in and visit the shelters.
In person?
In person.
To look through and see. Other than dogs and cats, what do you have there?
We only handle dogs and cats.
Okay.
Occasionally we do have to shelter chickens. We've had horses, goats, pigs, but that's not really our area of expertise. We deal with mainly cats and dogs, and that's really about it.
And so when folks come in looking for a pet, or they call and you ask them to come in, is it often that they find their pet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we do fairly well. We would like to do much better. Our numbers, as Kate says, she's a numbers person, and I get this information, you know, and we would like to see that happen more often. But again, you know, in order for that to happen, it's a proper form of ID. Again, the tag really serves well, and microchip as well, you know, especially if they move out of the county or they're visiting their relatives somewhere, and it just so happens that the animal decides to leave and play out somewhere, and it gets lost. And it really helps to have some sort of ID.
Excellent. And I know that my dog has a microchip, and I know that the microchip is only as good as the information that is if information is kept up to date. So I know I can log in to an online account and make sure that all of his stuff is up to date. Do you often see microchip information that is incorrect?
Yes, that's really, we do get a high number of animals, and occasionally they have microchips that their owners do forget to update that information, especially phone numbers. And if they move, we ask the people that come in to reclaim or to microchip their pets when we do have our clinics, and to keep that information up to date as best as possible. To remember that every time that they move, they need to keep, you know, updating the information, because this is the way we can, you know, return their pets to their home.
It's not like you can ask a dog, can I see some ID, you know, where are you from?
That'd be funny. If oh yeah, my name is, yeah. That'd be great.
So I think we have time for just about one more question. Jesse, have you ever been bit by an animal?
Funny you say that. I don't remember since ever getting bit till last year.
No?
I got bit twice. And you would figure, well, this would probably not be the right person to bite. But yes, I got bit twice, and unfortunately, and this is why we want to let the people know that they should control their pets, keep them indoors, and it's because one of the animals that bit me, unfortunately, was put down because the owner didn't reclaim him. We didn't know who the owner was, and it wasn't my agency that responded, but unfortunately, that's true to life. That's what happens.
Indeed. So Jesse, I want to thank you again for being with us today and going through some of these really important questions. If your dog or pet does not have proper identification, then it's going to be very difficult, or it could be very difficult potentially to get them back. So visit the Monterey County Animal Services online on the web at www.mtyhd.org/pets. That's www.mtyhd.org/pets. And right now we're going to take a short break, but don't touch that dial. We'll be back with more of the Your Health television program in just a moment.